Hey guys, what's up? It's your girl Nosh. How's it going? The message in this video, I honestly had to sit down and think about it for a second because I couldn't come up with a title for it. And then I kind of walked away from it, and there were a couple of titles that were coming to my mind. But the one that stood out to me was, I'll read you the titles I wrote. I had written down what happens when isolation doesn't break you. The second one was isolation was meant to destroy you. It didn't. And then the third one was they expected you to break in isolation. And I think this message speaks loudly to that last title. That title actually represents exactly what I'm going to speak to you about in this video. They expected you to break in isolation. There are some people in the world, we know about this. If you've been following my channel for a while, I talk about this all the time. But there were people, whoever's listening to this video, hi, what's up? If you found this video, I'm going to say it just like everybody else says it, but I mean it with sincerity. Not that I'm saying other people don't. They also mean it with sincerity, but you have to be the judge to see if this video is meant for you or not. If you are in isolation, and when I say isolation, I'm talking about you're not going out anymore. You're not entertaining people who are negative. You're not entertaining situations just for the sake of not wanting to be alone. You understand that you'd rather be alone than deal with entertaining negativity. If you are that person, then this video is for you. Also, if you are starting to realize that you don't want to be surrounded around people that are negative, you don't want to be surrounded around negative family members or negative situations, and you're pulling yourself away from it, and you're realizing oh, wow, it's Friday night and I'm alone. When I used to be out all the time and I used to be hanging out with my friends, and then you're having this epiphany and you're like, but wait a minute, every time I hung out with them, they either got in trouble or got me in trouble, or some type of nonsense or some type of drama conspired after being around them or while being with them. And this time around, you're actually, taking that into introspective, and you're taking the step back, and you're like, you know what? I don't want to deal with that anymore. Then this video is also for you. Because what I want to talk to you guys is about, sometimes the nervous system is used to being around people because that's the only thing your nervous system knows. So when your nervous system gets a chance to be alone and away from the chaos and away from the negativity, it actually starts to reset. So if you were the type of individual that if something happened to you, you had an argument, you had a fight, you had a disagreement with someone, and you automatically picked up the phone and you started calling your friends and started talking to them about it, and this and that, and then, okay, that's fine, one friend, then you call another friend and you're discussing it with them. Someone came over your house to visit you, and now you're discussing it with them, and you find yourself not doing that anymore, where if something happens to you, you kind of you're like, okay, I see how this is what this is, and then you go on about your day. You don't sit there and you don't dwell on it. This video can also be for you, because what I'm trying to explain to you in this video is, once you reset your nervous system, once you realize that you don't have to keep visiting what was done to you, you see it for what it is, and you become wiser from it, that's when you know you're going to isolate yourself from a situation like that coming forward, okay, or going forward. I'll give you an example. A lot of times people only talk about the abuse that happens in romantic relationships. No one really talks about the abuse that happens within friendship and family relationships, right? All in all, abuse is abuse. Physical abuse, emotional abuse, manipulation. These are all categorized as abuse. Anything that is not giving you peace and it's making your nervous system feel unsafe is considered abuse, okay? So say you're talking to your mother and your mother is always negative, or your father, your cousin, your brother. Let's just say there's a family dynamic. You have a family member that you always speak to about things with, and they always are negative. They always put you down. They always gaslight you. In a sense, that's abuse. That's emotional abuse and emotional manipulation. And then you feel that you can't cut them off because they're family, they're blood. Okay. Now, are you the same type of person who in a romantic relationship puts up with the same situations, like in a sense, like the same characteristics where your partner tells you something, you come home to your partner and you say, listen, I had a bad day, this is what happened at work, and this person said this and this and that to me, and your partner says, oh, that's just in your head, or da 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 da, that's not how it is, instead of just giving you space to listen to you and letting you vent, in a sense, you know what I mean? They basically start making you think that you're crazy. That's gaslighting. Okay. Hey, bud, what's up? So what ends up happening is, in that situation, even gaslighting is, in a sense, is abusive. Or this person is physically abusive with you. They will abuse you physically, and then a couple of days later, act like everything is fine and nothing ever happened. And you go back to, being okay. You're like, oh, okay, like, it happened once. It's a one-time thing. I guarantee you, beloveds, it's not a one-time thing, okay? And you really need to understand that, because someone who loves you, someone who cares about you truly, will not put their hands on you or will not try to hurt you in any way or shape or form, okay? Love is all about protecting and guarding and keeping the person, place, or thing that you love away from harm, okay? You do not inflict harm upon that which you love, because then it's not love, it's just possession, okay? So with that being said, you have a fight with your partner's nasty to you, mean to you, vocabulary wise, which is verbal abuse. And then they go back to being nice to you a couple of days later. And then you notice 2-3 months go by, and then you guys fight again and they do the same thing again. That is repair without accountability, okay? No one is taking accountability for what was said to you. No one is taking accountability of what was done to you. And a lot of times what happens in these romantic relationships, people don't want to repair anything. They want to just move from it. But you can't do that, okay? You cannot do that. You have to repair what has happened in order to build the trust again. Because sometimes what happens in these relationships is the trust gets chipped away like ice, okay? And then all of a sudden you have a big fallout and this and that, and now you're feeling guilty for leaving and blah, blah, blah. If you were to set the standards from day one, that if you speak to me like this or you treat me like this, I am not going to stick around, and you actually don't stick around. This is where the nervous system comes into play. When you're used to that type of abuse and that type of handling, or I would say conditioning from a home situation, you will carry it into your relationships. That's why I don't think there's a difference between a romantic relationship, a friendship, and a family relationship, where you can't say, oh, well, it's my family, they can talk to me any which way they want. No, they're not supposed to. That's not healthy. Or you have a friend that is very derogative towards you, very belittling of you, always is mean and nasty to you. No, a friend is not supposed to do that. And now let's move to a partner. No, your partner is not supposed to do that either. So what I'm trying to say to you today is, some of you, people thought that making you alone, putting you in isolation would break you. What ended up happening is these things that I just spoke about, the verbal abuse, the mental abuse, the emotional abuse, the physical abuse, that's what you actually sat down and thought about on your own. And then you came up with this thought in your head that said, wow, I thought being alone was my biggest fear. No, my biggest fear is ending up with someone who mistreats me and doesn't want to repair without accountability. Being alone is not a fear. Being alone is actually power, okay? If you can be alone, you can survive. You can be powerful. You can walk away from anything or anyone or any situation, place, or thing. You're being neglected at work. You can have enough confidence to get up and find another job. You are being neglected within a relationship or abused, work relationship, work, partnership, friendship, family. You can get up and leave now because you have tasted what being alone means. So for whoever this video is for, whoever put you in this isolation thought that it would break you. that you would go back crying and groveling and wanting that companionship again, that attention again, that validation again. But what in return ended up happening is that you grew strong. You took your pieces and you put them back together yourself. Now, when these people are going to come around, because these people will come around, you're going to notice that you don't have time for them. You're going to be very different with them. And for some of you, this is probably already happening, where people are reaching out to you and saying, hey, what happened to you? Where are you? You know, like, I understand we fought, but, you know, this is how we normally are. You know, I don't talk to you for a couple of months, and then, hey, I pop back into your life and you just take me back like it's nothing. You're not that person anymore. Who you used to be is not you anymore, and who they're used to is not you anymore. So be prepared for people to come back and wanting to be treated, or wanting to treat you the same way they treated you in the past. But one thing they don't understand is, because they left you, they actually did you a favor, because you got a taste of what solitude is. You got a taste of understanding who you are and what your dignity is and what self-respect is and what boundaries are. So now going forward, this is actually graduation for you in a sense. Now going forward, whatever dynamic you find yourself in, what you're going to look for is peace. And if it doesn't have peace, or you don't attain peace from a situation, place, or thing, or person, you're not going to want to have anything to do with it. And then you can go ahead and thank yourself for you putting yourself in isolation, right? And you can thank that person who put you in isolation. You can thank those people who said, yeah, I'm not going to talk to you no more. I'm just going to leave you alone. Good. By leaving you alone, you found yourself. Being alone is the only place you're going to find yourself, okay? You're not going to find yourself in the midst of a crowd. You're not going to find yourself in the middle of a club. You're not going to find yourself in the middle of a festival. You're not going to find yourself in the middle of a bar. You're not going to find yourself in the middle of 20, 30 people. You're not going to find yourself in the middle of family. You're not going to find yourself with a partner. The only time you will find yourself is by yourself. Because that's when your true self is going to come out and talk to you and say, hey, listen, we've been ignoring ourselves for such a long time. I think it's time to give ourselves a chance. And once you do, you're not going to put up with the nonsense anymore. You're going to realize the difference between peace and ache. What really hurts and what really feels good. Okay? So I feel like the theme of 2026 going forward is destroying the old cycles and replacing them with new, healthier, positive cycles, or new, healthier, positive patterns. So getting rid of the old negative cycles and the negative thinking and the negative patterns and adapting to new ones. And remember, when you do this, your nervous system is going to be a little bit wonky. It's going to be like, wait, we're not used to this. But if you keep sticking to it and you keep showing up for yourself and you keep putting yourself first, your nervous system is going to realize that, wait, no, it is about us. It's if I don't feel safe, I don't want to have anything to do with this. All right? So I hope this message finds you guys in peace and clarity and full of love. And of course, if you need a personal reading, if you need a birth chart reading, a past life regression, a Reiki healing session, let me know, because I do those things. These videos are general, so if it really did resonate with you, please leave a message, get in contact with me, and we can do a private session for you, where we can really get deep into who it is that wanted to put you in isolation, what you learned in isolation, or what's coming for you next, okay? All right? And of course, just want to sign off and say, whatever energy you send me in this video, or you send to this video, I pray that you receive it back tenfold. So whether it's love, hate, whatever it is, just remember, I send it right back to you tenfold. All right. I love you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.